Good evening, everyone. It is now 6 o'clock on the dot. That's impressive.
I'm
Damn.
pretty sure. Okay, here's the problem though. I'm in Central Time right now, so it's 5 o'clock for me. So
Wait,
you're
but
full
you're
of shit.
are you? That's impressive.
What?
Damn.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, here's the problem though. I'm in Central Time.
All right. The live stream is working because I just heard it on the
Woo!
the YouTubies.
That's what matters.
It is. We had one viewer. It went away. I'm pretty sure that viewer might have been me. But good evening, everyone. Shannon, I thought you were in Tennessee,
I am in Tennessee. We're Central Time.
but you're right above.
Listen, don't get me started. I hate Central Time. It gets dark at 4 p.m. here in the winter.
I'm not gonna let this ruin. Okay, but good night, good evening, everyone. This is the first annual. Uh, uh,
First annual? We're doing this
first.
once a year.
We're doing this once a year. No, this is the
Every
first.
December, Connor and I just spout shit on the internet.
Yep, every December. The
Merry Christmas.
the first bicentennial of our show. They can't commit to a name because we just can't.
We
Because
can't commit to a name.
we just can't commit. If this is your first time tuning in, which is it's ours too. This is an experiment, to say the least.
We're getting started.
We're getting started. We're buffing out the scratches.
It only took us an hour to get online.
Oh yeah, it took us. Thanks, Google Plus.
It just wants to be loved.
It's not Google Plus's fault. It's the new Google Plus. Because I was familiar with the older one before it updated. So when I was like, oh, setting this up will be easy, and then I log on to Google Plus, and I'm like, I have not been on this thing since July. Everything has changed. I'm very unaware of what is going on. So I had to use the old mainframe. But once I got on the old stuff, I'm rambling on. It doesn't matter. The point is, it took a very long time to do this thing. And yeah. So Shannon, do you want to give us a nice description of what our show is about and what we will be doing?
Okay. Well, here was my vision, so to speak. I want to tell stories of people who probably wouldn't typically have their stories told. Like the story I'm working on right now that I was lazy and didn't finish in time for today was supposed to be about a couple who just happened to be a same-sex couple who never really got together, but they loved each other, and now something has happened to where they're, time is important and time's running out, and they're like, we might as well do something. And
what do you mean?
Like, and confess to each other how we feel. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, all right.
that sort of thing. Because I've been doing a lot of reading as research for this and talking to like other writers and things like that. And the biggest thing I've noticed in just speaking about stories of same-sex couples is if it's generally the pattern is if it's a same-sex couple who are men, they tend to be a joke. Like they're like the funny side character.
Yeah, or they're the butt of the joke, or they're the like sassy gay guy, or they're like the best friend that the main female lead goes to ask for like sage advice from, on how to be a woman. And it's like, why are you asking the gay man, questions?
The sassy best friend. Yeah. And then if it's a same-sex couple who are women, they are fetishized. Like it's just for like straight men to enjoy. And I just feel like these people, they have just as real of love stories as any heterosexual couple would. And
as a homosexual myself with a boyfriend, I can attest to this. And yes, sometimes, I'm just like, why? You know, a good show that was really good for that kind of stuff that actually got
What?
gay guys right. It was a show that was on a few years ago. They canceled it. I don't know why. It was called Happy Endings.
Oh, really?
It was a comedy. It was so funny. Um, all of the characters were non-stereotypical people.
See,
They were
that's
like
what we
they were
need.
like stereotypes for like shows, but not stereotypical. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I
There's like
totally
the
get that.
gay guy, but he's not a stereotypical gay guy. And then there's the loving couple, and then there's the couple that they're a couple, but they're like they have a lot of
Yeah.
problems, but they're not the stereotypical versions of those things. And there's
Yeah.
like the ditzy friend, but she's not like the stereotypical ditzy friend. Like there's actual
Mhm.
like, you know, there's substance to it. Like the gay guy, he wasn't like he was he wasn't just like, oh my gosh, how's everyone going? He act like no one knew he was gay because he was very masculine and he was just like a dude, he was just a
Yeah.
bro. And they were
Yeah.
just like, what, you're gay? And he's like, yeah, I'm gay. I like guys, and he was just like this dude bro. And they were just like, okay, again. And that's what I loved. I was like, okay, awesome. It's this gay guy who isn't just this, oh my god,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I get what
Stereotype.
you're saying. Yeah, it was a great show. I loved it. It was so much fun.
That's the kind of thing I want to do. Because I got
Yeah.
so frustrated where like I would go on Kindle, right? On
Mhm.
Amazon. And I
Mhm.
would look for stories and you can go to the romance section
Mhm.
and it's all heterosexual couples.
Yeah.
And then if
And
you
if it is
go
gay,
to
and if it is gay stuff, it's just like porn,
it
like
is,
so
if you go to the gay and
hardcore.
lesbian section, it's just
It's
purely
porn.
erotica. And
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
like, I'm certain there's a story out there
And
of
another thing
two
that I don't
men.
like for like that kind of stuff is like if it is a lesbian couple, it's like it's two women, and then as soon as they like, you know, like they don't reveal their sexualities, like one of the
Uh-huh.
characters could be straight, and then as soon as like she touches the hand of another woman, oh, she's a lesbian now. It's like because she showed like, like they don't know how to write lesbians. They think that, oh yes, this woman is showing, affection and a loving understanding, feelings towards this other woman.
Yeah.
It can't be because she's a human being and she knows how to sympathize. No, it must be because she wants to
No.
get in her pants.
Oh my God. Okay, the best thing at Heroes Con last year,
Mhm.
I roomed with a bunch of our friends from Sequa. I roomed with Amber and Devin and Mary,
Mhm.
and we
Oh,
came back.
by the way, guys, if you're tuning in, me and Shannon are both Sequa majors. And if you don't know what that means, it means we do like comic books, character designs, concept designs, storyboards. We're the oldest form of art. But yeah, that's what our well, Shannon's graduated. She has a degree in it. I'm
I'm
in my
good.
senior year, so I'm about to get my degree. But that's if you ever hear us refer to Sequa or the people from Sequa, that's what we're referring to. But continue, Shannon.
Yeah, it's sequential art. So
Yeah.
I was at a comic convention with a bunch of our
Mhm.
friends,
Yeah.
and we go back to our hotel room, and we're like, you know what? Let's watch a shitty Lifetime movie. There's nothing better.
There's
And
nothing better.
it was this Lifetime movie written
Mhm.
by James Franco.
Who is James Franco again?
The trashiest, like he was Harry in Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
he wrote a he wrote a Lifetime story.
Listen, it was terrible. And the whole premise of the story was like it was supposed to be lesbian vampires,
Oh,
but it was just like white male fantasy lesbian
oh,
vampires.
they're
Like
just girls making out because that's what
yes,
lesbians do, right? They just make out
they
constantly
just
and chop down trees in flannel shirts.
they were always wearing like black leather
Oh
and
my
like
gosh.
rolling around, and like one of them clearly was just like super uncomfortable with the fact that they had to kiss at every greeting, and
Yeah.
like it
It's
was
like
just terrible.
it's like
I'm like,
it's like people don't realize it's like, all right, how do I, if someone came to me and they were like, hey, I want to write a story, and I'm not talking about you, Shannon, but it was like someone
yeah,
came to me and was like, how do I write a story about gay couples? I would be like, all right, first, all you need to know is do you have a good idea of how straight couples act? Well, yeah, I have a pretty good idea. You
mhm,
understand that it's not romance all the time, and it's not like everything is make out, let's have sex one and all the time.
yeah,
Yeah, that's how it is. Okay, now just make them of the same sex. Done.
yeah.
You're finished.
I mean, just they're people. And that's why I went into storytelling, is
Yeah.
because I want people to understand that people are people. Like,
Yeah.
we are not that, I mean, I'm not going to go into the like we're all the same inside,
We're all the same inside. We're
but
all
like
fleshy meat bags.
but like it's, I don't know, it's not like you and I are different breeds. I mean,
No. I mean,
and like
I
when
I am human. What do you
yeah,
mean, Shannon?
pretty sure. And like when we were trying to like set this up to record, your boyfriend was annoying you by calling you constantly, and I'm like,
It's a
that's
normal
a normal
relationship.
coupley thing.
Yeah.
And
No, but yeah, definitely. There needs to be more stories where it's just like, hey, here's a perspective that isn't your own, and it's not a
exactly.
fetishized perspective. It's more of like a, you know, oh gosh. But no,
This is
I get
not
what
a
you're saying.
middle-aged woman's fantasy of two
Yeah, yeah,
muscular men. Like,
exactly.
this is just two people. And then I
Like
also like I
Twilight
want
or like Harry Potter, where it's like that's how teenagers act, right? They're they're angsty.
they get married at 18 just
Yeah,
because they
right.
love each other, right?
Women's backs break when they're pregnant. That's what happens, right?
Oh Lord, we can't get into Twilight. We'll never finish. We'll never come out.
Oh god.
But then I also wanted to like explore different types of characters. Like my senior project, you saw some of it, but I'm working on it now, making it into a graphic novel format where the main love
Oh,
interest,
I'm
who's like
trying
the
to
most
remember this.
desirable man.
I remember your one story about the lady in the bar
Okay, yeah,
who
that's
was an
different. That
alcoholic.
wasn't
Okay,
senior
that's a different
project.
one. Okay, no,
That
no,
was
no.
different.
Senior project. Oh no,
But
no, no. Your senior project was the
what?
two gay guys, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and they were like, I remember the panel. They were in bed,
yeah.
like sleeping, or they had just gotten done sleeping, or one was still sleeping and he was getting out, and like there was like a pan shot or whatever, or the camera pulled back, and it was just like the room was in tatters, like there were bottles everywhere, and it
Yeah.
didn't look like it looked like the house of like people who were alcoholics or weren't necessarily in the best mindset, like they had some
Exactly. They're supposed to be heroin addicts, so
yeah,
there
yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
yeah, they're
But
okay.
the main like gorgeous love interest that everyone desires in that story is a
Mhm.
black man, which you never see.
No, you never see
You
that.
know what I mean? Like the
Unless it's
princely figure.
like in if it's like a movie made for like, the black audience, then yes, of course. But
Yeah, and
whenever it's like a movie that's made for like the general audience or like, the white audience, it's
mhm,
never a black man who is the Romeo. It's always like,
exactly.
or funny, sometimes it's like the Hispanic guy, like the fetishized, like, oh, you know,
But even then,
yeah.
he's like the rebound guy. He's never
Oh
like
yeah.
the guy.
Yeah.
He's like,
He's
"Oh,
like, I can settle for him.
I went to Costa Rica to get over you and I brought back Fernando." And
Yeah.
like, but he's never, I don't know, like I'm really tired of white men with brown hair being the
Hmm.
only desirable people in
Yeah.
stories. And like, so those kinds of things. Like that's what I'm trying to achieve with this, is like telling those stories where like these people, you see them in a different light, but at the same time you can relate to them and empathize with them.
Hmm.
And
I just started this because I wanted the money.
all
No.
those views,
All the views. No.
tens and zeros and nuns of people.
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
I guess my wanting to do this was of kind of the same guise of yours. I wanted to tell the stories I wanted to tell are more of, and the things for comic books too. The stories I write for comic books. It's I want to tell the fictional stories, like the iconic kind of fictional stories. Like, 'cause I'm a huge fan of like Dungeons and Dragons and like Star Wars and stuff like that. I love making stories and stuff like that. I love Dungeons and Dragons; it's one of my favorite games. But I like those like fantasy kind of things, like high fantasy or like fiction. That like they'll never happen. But like trying to break the norms of those two, trying to get rid of those like or at least go past those like stereotypes. Like for my Viz 2 project this last quarter,
Mhm.
my final, it was of a like a superhero family, kind of like the Incredibles. It was two dads and their daughter. They're like
Mhm.
high school daughter, And with the main character is he is a like ex Power Ranger, or he is still a Power Ranger, but like he's the only one left of the team because everyone moved on, and he's trying to relive his glory days, but he has to work a day job. So whenever like the city's in peril, he's like, oh yes, finally I can do what I love. And so it starts off with him in his day job and stuff, and he's like, just doing the daily grind. And then the TV comes up and it's like, the city's in peril, and he's like, yeah, now it's time to get to work. And he jumps out the jumps out the building and transforms and lands. And as soon as he lands, his husband calls him and he's like, all right, I got called in to work. You're gonna have to make sure our daughter gets to school on time today. She's been late. She can't be late again. She'll get detention. He's like, so he summons like his big like Megazord thing, and he runs and he has to like fend off the monster, and the monster's like, you come here to fight me? And he's like, I don't got time for this, so he like evades the monster, and he gets home, and like the daughter's like still in bed, and he's like trying to get her up and get her ready, and like as he's like trying to fight the monster off, because the monster's like, nuh-uh, bitch, like you are gonna fight me, like this is happening.
Listen, I had an appointment.
So he's like trying to fight the monster and stuff, and he like gets the monster off of him as the daughter like somewhat finishes up getting ready. And so he just like literally just grabs her, runs to the school, and just like the fist that she's in, he like fires it off into the building. She's a split second late and still manages to get detention, and he's like,
No.
But I just wanted to show that like kind of like, and I love comedy. I love my two favorite genres are comedy and horror. I love spooky, creepy, and like I like creepy stuff, like terror. I love terror. But with this comic, I really wanted to have like a comedic sense to it. But I really wanted to give these, and the superhero guy, he's out of shape. He's like, he's overweight and stuff because he works a day job now. He's not kicking ass all the time. He's out of shape, but he's still a superhero. And his daughter, like his husband's a black guy. He's kind of like an Anglo-Saxon man, and their daughter's like she's like mixed. She's like Asian and like Hispanic. So it's a nice mixed little family. And because I come from a mixed family, my father is a Aryan Jew, and my mother is a Colombian woman. And I have in my family, we got Native American people. My younger brother is he's black. He was adopted. I have an extremely mixed family. And I look on like I look into the media, and I'm like, I don't see families like, I mean, they're it's so skewed. They're such little, they're like little niche, here you go. It's like, no, I want to make it more prevalent. I want it to be, because in all honesty, there's a large quantity of heavily mixed families, and I don't know, I really want to bring that to light. It'd be like, here you go, here's a family that everyone isn't of the same race.
We are not just the quirky neighbors.
Yeah, we're not just the quirky neighbors. We're like we're main characters now. We're not side characters anymore.
So we can have the same objective here, with the exception of you want magic and like
I want magic and mischief.
And mine's like everybody's on drugs.
Yeah, but yours is like, I like that. Yours has more, what I've read of yours has very much of like a noir feel to your, like, it's very like real, and it's very, it's very, how do I explain? Your stories are very like, there's like a sense of fiction to them to a degree, but it's just in how you tell them. It's very non-fiction, but the way you tell your stories make them feel, like a fiction or whatever. But it's a nice, it's very like realistic, I should say. Because I remember your story with the lady in the bar, the alcoholic woman, and then I remember parts and stuff, and it was just very like down to earth. I guess I should say, yeah. And I like that. They always have like and the way you color and the way you draw them are very like noir sense. Very like everything's kind of sepia tone, or the colors are very subtle. Everything I do, it's intense and in your face, and its colors are so bright. It's
you always have like really dynamic poses. And I mean, we're not really here to talk comics, but It is kind of the way it goes.
Yeah,
Because
but
that's
that's
my
how I
primary
like. That's my type of
medium.
storytelling. Like it's,
Yeah.
I like Baroque. Not Baroque,
Mhm.
but the art style of Baroque, where
Baroque.
yeah, where everything is so not so much like not every moment is dramatic, but I like emotion and I like showing emotion. I love when characters, even on paper when you can't even see them, but the way they're described, you can tell second guessing anything. You know exactly how they're standing, how their face is, how they're
Mhm.
how they're positioning their arms, how their hair looks, what kind of like position or stance they're in, just because of how descriptive, that kind of storytelling. You don't need the writer to be like, and at this moment, they were overtaken with sorrow. You don't need that, like, you don't need them to hold your hand to tell you how the emotion is. You can just, by
Yeah.
reading the description of the character, you're like, this person is,
Down.
down, or they're angry, or they're excited, or they're confused, or they're confused about their emotions just as much as you are right now. That kind
Right?
of thing. And I like that on paper, and I also like that in
Uh,
my comics, and I like doing that in my comics, and I hope with this show I can do it with this as
Stories.
well. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think the biggest point of this show is that me and Shannon wanted to do funny voices on the internet.
It's true. My favorite voice of yours, you have two, like the old man and then
The old man.
the chocolate woman from SpongeBob.
The chalk. The, what are they selling? Oh gosh, I haven't done it in a long time. Here we go. Oh, it's who's at the door? Oh, he's selling chocolate, is he? Oh, I remember when they always invented chocolate. I always hated it. It's the worst. In my day, we didn't have chocolate. We had wood, and it hurt. Or
Oh,
Palpatine?
but
Oh no, is it Palpatine or is it just the old man?
Oh man, I forgot about your Palpatine voice. The Palpatine voice is good, but my
Oh,
favorite is like the old man who hates his grandson,
yeah, Billy.
Billy, the hypothetical grandson.
Hypothetical. I hate you, Billy. You're the
Yo.
worst. Billy, do you know why I hate you? Oh, why, Grandpa? I don't need a reason. Gosh, I haven't done Grandpa in such a long time, but I have been
It's
doing
because I've
Palpatine.
been gone. It's because I graduated.
No. Oh, it's so sad. But I have been doing Palpatine, which is just like, do it. I hope there's no doubt in my mind that when I'm an old man and technology is so far that we have like in-house, you know, holograms that when, my child would be like, "Oh, Billy, your grandfather, he's on the phone," and he's like, "Thanks, Dad." And
What does his dad sound like a mouse?
I know. And he goes in and he's like, there's just this blue hologram of like me in a cloak sitting in a chair, and I'm like, "Billy," and he's like, "Yes, yes, yeah, Grandpa," and he's like, "I've heard you've been bullied. I heard you've been being bullied at school," and he's like, "Yeah, the kids are just, they're kind of mean," and I was like, "You let that hate. Do you hate these children?" "Yeah, I do, but Mom and Dad just, tell me to just get over it." And I'm like, "No, Billy, let that hate fuel you. Should I hurt them? Do it."
Oh, just every. Oh.
"There's son to do that. I am the Senate," and then like just turn off.
Absolute power!
"Dad, are you coming for Christmas?" "Yes, I'll be coming for Christmas."
Love you too.
"Love you too. Bye."
Click. No, the other thing I wanted to bring up, just thinking
Yes.
about like different types of stories, different types of characters.
Mhm.
Something that I noticed in our major as compared to other majors at SCAD,
Yes. The
we
superior
were always
major, Sequa.
encouraged. What?
I said the superior major, Sequa. Hold on a
Hello?
second. My mom is calling me.
Hey, Mom.
That custom. All right, let's see here. Sorry. Broadcasting.
We interrupt this program for a brief text message.
Yes.
Mom.
If you look at the title of the episode, you can see that it's called Troubleshooting.
I mean, we didn't even finish the story for it,
Yeah.
so that's my fault. But
We'll be lucky if there's a story tonight. There's most likely not going to be one tonight. We're just going to tell you.
About.
We're gonna introduce you to the story. We're gonna hold your little hand, and we're gonna bring you to the hellscape that can't commit to a name. Continue, Shannon.
All right. So our major was pretty cool in that they were really encouraging about integrating different races and creeds and religions and hair colors and ages and all that. And like they weren't necessarily being like, "Oh, you're a white man, well, you can't write about black women." But yeah, but that has happened to some of my friends in the other majors.
You're kidding me.
Like I had a friend in visual effects, and she was doing a lot of research. She was being very respectful and was designing a Native American character. Mm-hmm. And her professor was like, "You can't do that." And she was like, "Why not?" And he's like, "Because you're not Native American." And the same thing happened to a friend in animation where he was designing a woman and his professor said, "You can't do that because you're not a woman." And I'm like, what kind of storytelling are we gearing up for?
Yeah.
That only
it's just like, make sure you just do the right amount of like, like, do I need to, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir, you can't write your own fan fiction about Lord of the Rings. You're not an elf." It's like, yes, I understand that, but I'm writing this story because I'd like to be an elf. No, but I'm writing this story because, that's
the story.
Yeah, if every single character I write is a Hispanic gay guy,
right?
My stories are going to get boring. It's like, why is everyone in this story Hispanic gay men? Even the mom is a Hispanic gay man, and the dog. It's like,
I just pictured a dog with like a really racist mustache and sombrero.
Hello.
And it's like if every character I wrote was like a gothic chick looking white woman, I'd be James Franco.
Yeah.
So we would never get any sort of diversity in stories, and it would just compartmentalize everybody.
Yeah, but in saying that, like, yes, please be respectful of the race that you're writing about, or the gender or sexuality. Of course, I don't want
I'm not about to write Fat Albert.
Yeah.
It's 2016.
We're gonna write it. I can understand if they're like, "Dude, this story you're making, like, I wanted to write, about like a black woman." It's like, well, this entire story is riddled with like stereotypical borderline racist like shit. Like,
right,
you're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
But if you're being respectful, then go right ahead, write a story.
Exactly.
And awesome. If you're doing research on something that you weren't aware of before, awesome. You're smarter now.
You're one step closer to being a better person.
Exactly.
So
what Mr. Robbins or whatever his name was, the "Do you want to be my neighbor" guy?
Oh, Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers. You know what? He's a bad example. Let's use what's his face.
That guy.
The guy who's like, we're gonna paint
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. I love.
Let's use Bob Ross.
He's so happy. We watch him.
What if every character was Bob Ross?
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, that'd be weird.
That'd be the coolest comic ever.
Everyone is Bob Ross.
No, just like, okay, so scenario, guy wakes up, looks in the mirror, holy shit, I'm Bob Ross. Goes outside, everybody's Bob Ross. And he's like, what's happening here? And it's like a Twilight Zone episode where he's running down the street and everyone is Bob Ross.
They're all like painting on easils on the side of the road and in like cafes and in like movie theaters. We're gonna do it, and they're all at the same. We're gonna draw a happy tree.
There's a little happy cloud up here.
No, have you seen the guy? He's a stripper at it's like a restaurant / club, and his like stripper persona is he's Bob Ross.
What?
beautiful.
I want to see him.
Like, I don't know if he's like like there are strippers there. I don't know if he is a stripper, but he is a dancer. And he
Gotcha.
has a little easel, but every time he starts dancing, he like chucks it across the room and like starts like doing the worm on the ground. It's so beautiful.
Oh no, the only thing I'm picturing is like the American Dad episode where he becomes a dancer and
Yeah.
his name was terrible with a terrible pun. But he comes out and he's got like paintbrushes in his mouth and a horrible like French stare.
Oh, Shannon, you're breaking up. It seems we're suffering from
White socks like folded over.
There she is. She's back. Shannon? Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay. You were breaking up there for a second.
Oh, well, basically he's just looks like all the stereotypes of artists where he's got like a beret and fake mustache and like the twisty French mustache. That's his stripper persona.
This was on American Dad?
Yeah.
I mean, I watched a few episodes. I never really watched it religiously.
I went through a phase.
Yeah.
It's just a phase.
This is phase, I swear. Mom, I'll
I don't
grow
do
out of it. Mom, it's just a phase.
Just one more episode.
Turn the tables on that conversation. So, what else is there? What else should we talk about, Shannon?
I don't know. We're coming up on 30 minutes. I don't know how long these episodes are.
Well, that's okay.
Intended to be, but
yeah.
Apparently this is a bicentennial broadcast.
Bicentennial broadcasting of our first ever.
So we'll see you in 50 years.
See you back in 50. Shannon! Are you ready for the second bicentennial broadcasting of They Can't Commit to a Name? That's what it says. Oh, yeah. Episode 2. We'll hang out and change everything again.
Next episode we'll actually have a story to read.
And we'll be reading it and we'll be doing voices of the characters and stuff, and
hopefully
we'll have what's his face?
Bob Ross.
And we're also gonna have people, we're gonna have guests on our show.
Yes, we are.
It's gonna be so much fun. They're gonna help us read because everyone knows that I'm borderline illiterate. We're gonna have what's his face? Gosh. Oh gosh. He's gonna be on our show and I can't remember. He was in the movie Armageddon. He was he's in Boardwalk Dynasty or Empire.
What?
He's got like buggy eyes. What's his name?
What? Who is this?
Oh gosh, what's his name? His name is
I have no idea.
His name is
You better learn it before he's on the show.
I know. Oh gosh. Hold on. I'm gonna Google it.
Are you Googling it?
I'm Googling it. Googling.
But in reality, we're gonna have other writers, people who actually studied writing.
Yes, of course.
Whereas we studied visual storytelling, but
hey, we know how to tell a story visually, if I do say so myself.
It's true, and that kind of helps
Steve
because
Buscemi,
I mean,
there's his name. We're gonna have Steve Buscemi.
Oh, thank God.
What's wrong with Steve Buscemi?
It's too beautiful. Inside and out.
When God was making that man, he dropped too much of the beautiful into him.
Like those terrible memes where God is like putting a sprinkle of beauty. Whoops.
It's like a cement mixer. Oh gosh.
No, but we'll have other writers. But what I was saying though is like, even though you and I studied visual storytelling, I think that kind of aids us in telling stories verbally because it's sort of like, what's his name? David Wojnarowicz. He wrote a lot of essays and stories and always told how people were feeling through their actions.
Mm-hmm.
So like his body language or the things they were doing, and you could interpret, how they were feeling. Like as opposed to being like, he was sad. It's like his shoulders hunched and
his brow furrowed.
Yeah, those kinds of things. So like we learned how to do that
Yeah.
without just being like, and then
Or him, I am sad.
yes.
Sir, I think that man is sad. And he's like, why would you say that? He's like,
Oh, what's the
he
word?
just announced it. He announced it to the world.
So
I am terse.
I am disgruntled. So that's what's gonna happen next week.
Yeah.
I guess next week.
I guess next week we might have another show earlier this another time this week. We don't really know when our shows will be broadcasted.
I'm shooting for weekly.
I'm shooting for weekly, if not twice a week.
Well,
but if weekly is what happens, then awesome. We have a weekly show.
Yeah.
It'll be a bi-weekly show.
And next time we'll probably have some more interesting graphic than
Oh yes, hopefully.
Black screen
of death.
You would think two people who went to art school could come up with one graphic. Like
you think someone who's proficient with a computer in general would have been able to have figured out how to use Google Hangouts that didn't take a whole freaking hour.
Well, I am not that person.
I know you're not. I was making fun of myself.
I'm very bad at computers, actually. Very bad indeed.
Yes.
All right. Well, is this the end?
Shannon, we have so much more to talk about.
Are we done?
We finished. Oh gosh.
What's our sign off? We don't have any kind of sign off.
Oh gosh, we don't even have a sign off. In the comments. Oh my gosh, we can do that now because we're a YouTube show. Shannon, we have so much power that we can abuse. Oh, we can do shout outs like. Oh gosh, who are you?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, my sister. Hi, my boyfriend.
All right.
No.
We'll make it, but we got to come up with some kind of sign off line right now.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Sign off line. We could try. That's all, folks.
Really?
Well, okay. We could try. Tune in next week for your episode. Insert episode number here. Of They Still Can't Commit to a Name.
Only if it's in that voice.
Meanwhile, back in 1950s.
When the talkies were just coming out.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with the 19. And we can do like funny, like, will Shannon be able to find the golden goose egg? And will Connor finally be able to tell his nurse about the horrible disease he's contracted? Tune in next week. And it's like something that has nothing to do with what we
that never happened.
Yeah. Next time on
that show.
Meanwhile,
tune in next week. And phone call.
And another phone call. Yes.
Hello. All right, are we done? Are we going?
I mean, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
I don't have anything else right now. Normally I would be reading at this point, but
we can think of something. I mean, we've only done like 30 minutes. Let's go to 7. And then if we still haven't thought of anything, we'll end.
All right.
Yeah. Because I just don't want it to just to be 30 minutes. So
then
and then there were 2. But yeah, and we're not just only gonna read stories on here. We're gonna do some other stuff. We're gonna interview people. We're gonna interview some of the people that come on, some of our guest speakers.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have we'll do some fun games.
We will.
Like Pictionary. We're gonna do some fun stuff. We're gonna make it. It's not just gonna be stories, but our show is based around storytelling. and
Exactly.
having a fun time and telling a story we really want to tell. And I really want to do funny, voices. I want to like be able to talk, as someone else and give personalities to people who you would not immediately understand who they are or what they sound like.
That's gonna be when you read.
That's gonna be when I read. Yes, but I like making. I like mouth sounds. But this
That's
is
one of the creepiest sentences I've ever heard come out of your
I
mouth.
like mouth
I
sounds.
like mouth sounds.
Hi, I'm Connor. I'm 22 years old, and my likes are mouth sounds. We have a viewer. Oh my goodness.
Hey!
Hi, viewer.
I'm afraid we're gonna scare them away. Like they quickly click off.
This isn't. This isn't Bob Ross. This isn't PewDiePie.
Oh, PewDiePie.
Uh,
Sweet, sweet PewDiePie.
Speaking of which, and this is a shot in the dark. This might not even happen, but wouldn't it be cool if we could get some YouTubers on here, like
That would be
the
amazing.
Game Grumps or
I love Game Grumps. I've been watching Game Grumps all week.
they're amazing. Or like maybe like Markiplier or like Jacksepticeye or maybe like someone from the Yogs cast. Some like really interesting like YouTubers or whatever.
I have too much of a crush on Markiplier. I would just go stupid.
Yeah.
You'd be like, hi, and I'd be like, oh
my gosh.
all language skills go out the window.
Oh gosh, that'd be amazing. But like, yeah, we're gonna have like guest speakers. You know what would be so much fun?
What?
If we got some of our professors, if we got Dabs on here. Oh my gosh.
He'd never do it. I'd have to come to Atlanta.
I talked to him and he said that he would totally tune in.
Oh, cool. What if he's our viewer, our one viewer?
Oh nope, the viewer went away.
I told you we scared them.
Tune in next week to see if that viewer comes back. Will
anyone watch the show?
No. Will Connor be able to pay rent this week?
Oh yeah, that would be good.
Oh gosh.
The family I nanny for.
Hey! I don't know if it's the same viewer. It's probably, I don't know.
It's probably somebody else. We get so excited when one person shows up.
Yeah.
The family I nanny for has been on vacation for like Thanksgiving and holidays and things like that. And I'm like, that's all fine and good that I don't have to work, but also rent.
Rent.
And please come
bill?
back.
Please.
Yeah.
This is a segment of the show where we don't really know what to say, so we start making weird sounds.
Oh man. So are you doing Heroes Con this year?
And I know you're not gonna like this, but I'm doing FWA this year.
What is that?
Furry Week in Atlanta.
No.
Yes, Shannon.
No.
I know you don't like furries, but I'm doing it.
It's not really about furries. Like people, I don't like people who are like, oh, I hate furries. For me, it is. I cannot stand anthropomorphization.
Yeah,
if an animal is talking,
it scares you.
It is the creepiest thing to me. Like, I don't like it. Like, I don't even. Oh,
kill that parrot. That parrot, kill it. It's talking.
Like in 6th grade, we had to watch The Secret of Nim. Did you ever see that?
Secret of Nim. Yes, with the mice.
It's like talking to mice.
That movie's disturbing.
Yeah, I think that might be why I'm like terrified of talking animals. I don't know, but it upset me so much, and we had to watch it. And I was like, I don't want the animals. They're smart.
They're smart. I like my animals dumb. Thank you very much.
I like my animals with their tongues flopping out of their mouths.
Yeah.
Making mouth sounds.
I was talking to my grandpa. I love that man. He's a little Colombian man, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's came off the boat. We were talking, and he has a very, very thick Colombian accent. Very thick.
Yeah.
but growing up with it, like most people can't understand him. I can, because I grew up with him.
Right.
So we were sitting in the car, and we're talking about dogs. We're talking about how dogs are really, really smart, because he has a little dog. And I tell him about those little Shiba Inus that are in Japan that like run businesses while their owners are away and stuff.
So cute.
It's so cute, and they're so smart. And I'm like, give it a few, maybe 200 more years, and like dogs will eventually like learn how to speak and like become like productive citizens of society. And we'll
Why
have
did
like
you
a
do
dog
that? You
president.
ruined it.
They'll own like little stores, and they'll have like little city councils and stuff. And they're like, we need more affection, or like they'll become like doctors and like therapists and like firefighters and stuff.
Did you try barking at it?
You try barking at it, and you're like, no, I didn't. And they'll be like, the first dog president, and they'll be like scandals where it's like, oh man, he peed on a fire hydrant, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I didn't vote for him,
Dog president ruins toilet paper roll. It's a very bad dog.
He peed on the carpet, like he's dry humping the ambassador's leg, like I didn't vote for him.
Presidential sex scandal.
Presidential sex scandal. Did he cheat on his wife? Well, no, but he dry humped everything in the White House.
And if that didn't scare away our one viewer, I don't know what would.
But like when it comes to cats, I don't really see them getting as smart, because like all you have to do is like put a zucchini behind them, and they're like, like like it's like,
Cats don't even know that we're not cats.
Yeah, they're just like, you're a really tall cat. I think they also think that we're stupid too, because they're like, you don't do cat things. You must be dumb.
They like bring you dead animals or half dead mice.
Here, eat this. It's like,
Here, I show you how to hunt.
I show you how to be cat. Put this in mouth. It's like, I'm good cat. He's like, no.
So stupid.
When you pet them, yeah. When you pet them, they're like, not now, big cat. I must have milk.
No, I think my fear actually of anthropomorphization comes from, I had this terrible nightmare when I was 3 that I suddenly looked over and my dad was a giant lobster. Like, it sounds funny, but you think about it, it's sort of like that whole Spirited Away thing where like you see them from behind, and then they turn around and they're like these creepy pig people.
Yeah. Everyone was freaked out by that in that movie. I was so like, whoa, cool. Her parents turned into pigs.
No, that was so terrifying to me.
I don't know why. I thought it was cool. I was like, whoa, her parents are pigs. I love that movie. I love all the spirit stuff. I like the big like chicken with like the leaf on its head.
Oh yeah.
And I love No Face.
No Face? I've seen all these drawings lately.
Yeah.
Just floating around the internet of No Face as like an emo teenager.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I could be into that. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite character in that movie is the spider guy that lives in the basement.
Oh yeah.
He's like, she's my grand. He's just like, he's like, I don't like you. But as soon as like shit happens, he's like, she's my granddaughter. And it's like, what?
He's my favorite.
Yeah. I love him. He's great.
It always bothered me though, and this is a weird nitpicky thing. It always bothered me that he drank out of a tea kettle.
Yeah. I was like,
is that hot water?
Yeah, I was like, that's hot water. He's burning himself. Not the fact that he has like, 7 arms. He lives in the basement of a giant supernatural bathhouse. He has soot monsters that do things for him.
No, he drinks out of a kettle. That's the worst.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. I was another thing that I was like, what? You know how little spices like he puts into the water, and yet it makes it like an herbal bath. I was like, nuh-uh. I'm sorry. Suspension of disbelief. I know this is a fictional world, but come on. He's gonna need a little bit more than a handful of like rosemary that's gonna make it, an herbal bath.
Just a whisper of cinnamon in this bathtub.
I spit in it. It's good enough.
No. We can buy the giant chicken with a leaf on its head and a walking turnip, but that's not enough herbs.
Yeah. There's not enough herbs in this bath. This is just tap water.
Wait a minute.
Bag in it.
What? Well,
What else is there? What's another fun? What's another thing we can do?
We're gonna do better next time of actually knowing what we're
Oh,
gonna talk
we're gonna do
about.
so much better. We're gonna do so much better. This was just a can it be done kind of
This was
thing.
figuring out how to get online.
Yeah, this was figuring out how to just use computer.
I can't.
Ugh.
It's so bad.
But back to
Oh,
convention. Are you what conventions are you thinking about doing?
I'm doing Heroes.
Okay.
I gotta figure out. Everybody's already like got their. I think I'm gonna share with Devin. We gotta figure that out.
Devin as
And
in
then
marrying
what?
Sam?
What?
Marrying Sam, Devin?
Yeah, that Devin.
Okay. Okay.
And then I really want to do what is it called? SPX, Small Press Expo.
Oh, okay, okay. Doesn't Staros go there?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's one of the ones he talked about,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think. And I think it's more for just like small independent media. And I don't think it's just comics strictly. I think it might be also like children's books and
That's so
things
cool.
like
So
that.
it's like stories.
Yeah. And then a fluke in I think it's in
A
Augusta,
fluke?
Georgia. Not a fluke.
Oh,
Fluke.
oh.
A
I was like,
fluke.
I think you're being ripped off, Shannon.
No. No. Fluke.
Fluke.
Which is another one we talked about at school, and I think it's also like an indie press, but that
Oh,
is
cool.
comics.
That's cool.
And I think it's just outside of Atlanta, like maybe an hour away. I can't remember if it's in Athens or Augusta, or did I make up Augusta? Is that a place? I'll know when I get there.
I don't know when I see
And
you.
those are, I mean, that right there is probably like $900 worth of conning. So we'll start there and then try
Yeah,
to branch out.
we'll work our way up.
I'm not really big on the like anime con
Yeah, like my sister, she
scene.
does a lot of. My sister does cosplay, like professional cosplay stuff, where she like
Yeah.
dresses characters and she does like dance numbers. She has a team she's a part of and
Hmm.
stuff. So she always goes to the anime con. She's so good at doing like cosplay. She did Princess Mononoke. She was
Ooh.
Princess Mononoke. Oh, I'll send you some pictures. They're freaking
Okay.
amazing. So awesome. And she's just, she's thinking about being Impa from the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. Um, she's doing all these like stuff, and she's part of a dance crew, and they got like second place, I think, or
Oh,
third
cool.
place. I think they got
Yeah.
third place in this dancing competition in Florida. I think he was in ShadowCon. She goes to anime conventions all the time. So I'm just like, yeah, awesome. It's just, I like more of the comic book. Like MegaCon is like a weird MegaCon in Florida is like comic books and anime and all of like that nerdy geeky stuff like Star Wars and Star Trek
Hmm.
and video games all mashed up into one convention, which I
Yeah.
like. So I don't have to like go to all these like conventions just for all these little things if it's all in like in one place.
Right.
I also like
Right.
Ren fairs. I love going to Ren fairs. I know those aren't
I
really
have
conventions.
never been to a Ren fair.
Oh my gosh, Shannon, you gotta go. Maybe
Well,
this. Maybe you can come to this one this year, in the spring.
when is it?
This sometime. I think it's in April.
Oh, okay. That's not too hard.
It's so much fun. I love it. But like I like conventions. I want to try and go to more furry conventions because I like fursuiters. They're so cute. I like just seeing the people in
Uh,
costumes. I know that scared you, but I just like it. They're so adorable. And I like comic book conventions. I really like seeing like comic book stuff. And I like
I
anime
do like
stuff here
comic.
and there. Like I love anime. It's great. I love anime. I grew up with it. I have a lot of favorite animes. My
Oh yeah.
my dad was one of those like 80s anime fans. He grew up on like, Street Fighter and like Robotech and
Hmm.
like oh gosh, Gotcha Man and stuff like that. Or Battle of the Planets, I guess you could
Yeah.
say, Gundam and stuff like that. So I grew up on like those
Oh,
old
God.
animes and like the early like 90s anime and stuff. But because of that, it made me very picky when it comes to anime. I'm very picky. I don't like because nowadays, and I know a lot of people are gonna get mad at me for this, but a lot of days, so much anime blends together. Like
Oh yeah, totally.
it's so like I can't tell. Sometimes I can't tell shows from other shows.
Mhm.
because they're so like a lot of the characters are very stereotypical, or all the characters look the same, you know.
Yeah, the characters, like, their facial structure is exactly the same, but they
Mhm.
have different hair color,
Yeah,
and,
and
like,
it's not even just like with other shows. Sometimes it's with other characters in the same show, you know.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, and
Like,
sometimes it's with other shows too. Yeah.
there's one show I've seen, and also they have, like, stupid names now, like, stupid concepts. Like, there's one show I watched that I was like, "Oh, this'll be cute," and it was supposed to be just, like, shonen ai, like, boys love romance story, and I watched it, and the name is, I believe it's Sekai Ichi Hatsukoi, which literally means world's number one first love. Like, really? Of all the
Yeah.
names you could have come up with, world's number one first love.
Yeah, but like the enemies I like,
Yeah.
you know, that are good, you know, and you can say
Yeah.
yours too because I know that you have you probably know way more anime than I do, Shannon, because you watch more of that stuff. I
My
like
inner
Cowboy.
weeb deep
Yeah,
down.
I like Cowboy Bebop. I like One Punch Man.
Yep.
Um, I like Dragon Ball Z. All right, I'm a little funny when it comes to Dragon Ball Z. I like it and I hate it. I like it because I
Mhm.
like the original stuff. I like the
Yeah.
original like Dragon Ball and like a Dragon Ball Z all the way up to like the Majin Buu um,
Mhm.
chronicle or saga. And but I also hate it because there's so much filler. And if you watch it without the
Yeah.
filler, it's great. What else to say? One Punch Man. I love Macross. I love Macross. Macross is good.
Never seen that.
Gundam is good. It's Robotech, but in Japan. Here
Oh,
in
okay.
America, yeah, it's very complicated.
Gotcha.
Um, Robotech, Macross. Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell is great.
Mhm.
Um, um, Samurai Champloo. I love Samurai Champloo. I'm very picky. But like, what are the ones that you like, Shannon? Because you're
You've already
very much.
listed way more than I've even seen.
Oh,
Like, I
really?
actually, yeah, okay, because, like, back in the day, I was kind of a weeb, but honestly, it came from I really liked learning languages, and the
Mm,
only people I could find who also liked learning languages were people who were into anime.
yeah.
But of course, they all just said, like, the three typical anime lines, like
It's,
baka and I don't even remember, like, doshita no, and those kind of things. And you're like, shut up, there's a
it's like
whole
those
language.
are yeah. Like my sister.
But
Okay, my sister taught herself Japanese, and the reason she did wasn't because she. Well, it might have been a little bit. For two reasons, but I think one was more prevalent than the other. One of them, which I don't really think this might be the reason, it's because some of the anime she watched was only in Japanese, so she had to teach herself how to read it.
mhm,
Because like the subtitles were also in Japanese. I think that's what it was.
right,
But I think
yeah.
I think the main reason why she taught herself that is because bust sizes in shirts. It's funny. So on shirts, on the little like tab, like for like like telling you size and stuff, in Japanese it tells you the bust size. So my sister
Ah,
taught herself Japanese so she could read the bust sizes of shirts so she could
interesting.
fit into them better. And I think it's hilarious. But I learned a few words in Japanese. It was so long ago. I can't remember. I learned how to ask like what is your name and like
Mhm.
a very very minor conversational Japanese. Like if I needed to speak with someone, like
Yeah.
being polite, like you know. Most of that knowledge has left me because I haven't used it in a very long time. So,
Yeah.
but I
I
get what you're
haven't had
saying about
anybody to
Japanese.
speak.
Huh?
Yeah, I haven't had anybody to speak with in so long that, like, I studied Japanese for 5 years, and most of it's just out of my brain at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
When I hear it, I can remember, but um,
Like a
I don't
song.
know. As far as anime goes, I was so obsessed with Inuyasha. Like,
Who is Inuyasha? Wait, is that the? Oh gosh, yeah, that's the guy. He sounds like this, and he's like, "I'm not a cat, I'm a dog," and you're just like, "Oh, all right." And he's like,
yeah,
"My,
pretty much.
I'm frustrated." The,
Even when he's not frustrated, he sounds like that. He'd be like,
yeah.
"I'm gonna gently tell you that I love you."
Isn't
Yeah.
today so great? Whoa, whoa. I'm so glad I'm traveling this extremely dangerous world with a girl who's only wearing a school uniform for some reason, and isn't wearing any protective armor whatsoever. Like, granted, yes, she has a giant bow and arrow, but
Nope, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that
she's
was
wearing cloth.
God only knows why I loved it so much, but I did. And it was
What's the
another one
anime
of
with
those
the guy?
though. Huh?
What's the anime with the guy with the X on his face and he has red hair?
Oh. Um I don't know. I know what you're talking about though.
I
I
liked
can
him.
see
I
it in my
liked that
head.
anime. That was one of my favorites. It was nice because
That's my favorite show. I don't know what it's called.
yeah, it was very calming. It was very calming.
Yeah.
You know. No, but
Um
continue about the Inuyasha stuff.
oh, that was pretty much it. Like it was one of those kind of like you were talking about with like Dragon Ball where it's like
Yeah.
it's got so much filler in it.
Oh my
It's
God.
that
Yes.
same thing that you see in a lot of animes where it's like the whole episode is them like half of it's recapping the last episode.
Yeah, and it's always like the and I shit you not, it's always the female character who does all the recapping. You know, like
Yeah.
they're not in the fray, and she's like, "Wow, this is just like the time 7 weeks ago when he was horrifically constipated and he learned the meaning of love." And you're like, "What? He's that's nice." Uh,
Yeah. There are always
But
those
I
side
need to watch
characters.
this fight now. He's currently losing, and I have some money bet on this. So can you not recap, Chan? Thank you.
Well, the whole episode is like them like leading up to one
Yeah,
move.
yeah.
And they
He's
do
gonna
the
do this
move.
one move that he learned in this a few episodes, and it's like half of the previous episode recapping about how he learned a previous move, and at the end of the episode he like slightly parries, and they're like, next time on Inuyasha, will he follow up on that parry? You're like, who knows? Will we
Will
get
he
to
move
that?
his sword?
Yeah,
Maybe.
will exposition win again?
And that's what, yeah. And then by the next episode, he does the single move, and everyone's like, "Oh, that move is so
Oh,
incredible and powerful!" And it's just like one drawing, like unmoving of him in the air, and it's like it's so complicated, my eyes can't follow it.
he's practically invisible. You're not looking in the right. Oh, okay, sorry, that was a bird. Oh, there he is. It's not that complicated, but I mean, it's impressive. Like, wow, he jumped and met swords with him in midair, and for some reason they're floating. But whatever. Like, their swords magnetized, and there's one guy flying. Who cares? Or like, this week, will the narrator be replaced by the one character who monologues pretty much everything in the entire show as it is? Maybe,
Probably.
Oh,
Next
gosh. Did you ever read the manga or watch the anime Sergeant Frog?
No.
Oh my gosh, Shannon, that is still to this day one of my favorite stories. Not even just manga, but stories in general. It's about
Sergeant.
an alien. Yeah, it's about these alien. It's about an alien race of like frog people. They're really cute. They did. I don't know why they're called frog people. They don't look like frogs. They like sure they have like little like frog cheeks, kind of,
Uh-huh.
but that's it. They don't even look like frogs. They come to invade Earth. And once they realize that humans are more fucked up than like they anticipated, they
Mm-hmm.
leave. But they don't tell one of their generals, whose name is
Oh.
General Kiroro, and um, he breaks into a house and gets brutally beaten and kidnapped by two teenage children, and is
What?
forced to become their maid.
What?
And then the entire him and his platoon are stranded on Earth, and they all kind of move into the house, and it's just shenanigans of them like trying to, like, one episode they're trying to take over the world, another episode they're trying to like open up like a fast food restaurant, and another
Oh.
episode like Hiroro's trying to understand like who he is on the inside and goes on a self-discovery like journey, and another mission they're trying to like discover the secrets of like a vending machine. It's so bullshit, but it's so funny, and they like the people that make Gundam make this, and it makes fun of
What?
so many of the like anime tropes, kind of like how One Punch Man does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those like this shouldn't be as ridiculously good natured as it is, but
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever see Club to Death Angel?
No.
Oh my god, it's terrible. It's like one of the worst things I've ever seen, but I got so sucked into it. It's like this guy
It's like a train
somehow
wreck. You just can't look away.
yeah, it's so bad. He somehow gets like this weird guardian angel. I can't even remember. I haven't seen it in so long. But basically, like her superpower is having giant tits and a giant stick with like spikes coming out of it.
She has a giant
And she
what?
constantly kills him and brings him back to life.
She has a giant
Like,
what?
she'll be like,
She has,
whoops, I killed
she has
you! And
big
like,
tits and what?
brings him back to life.
No, but she has a giant what besides giant tits?
It's like a club with spikes coming
Oh,
out of it.
I thought you said she has a giant dick with spikes coming out of it. I was like, wait, what? And she kills him with it? What the?
That's a very different kind of anime.
Anime.
No.
Oh, I think I've
but
seen this before, maybe.
it's just one of those where like they're trying to go to school together, and she has like weird like
And that's the
angel
thing, every
horn.
anime is always set in high school.
Right?
It's like, oh, you're the chosen one, like the 700 years of turmoil of the, the Tatsumoko clan have like struggled 1,000 years, and we were the shoguns of destiny. We conquered, the demon lord dragons of time and space. But the one thing our descendant can't conquer is high school. And you're like, what the fuck?
No, that's what happens. There's like an episode of Sailor Moon where these aliens are coming to conquer Earth, so they go to high school with Sailor Moon.
It's so
to like
stupid.
conquer the Earth.
Like, I love Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon is one of my favorite shows of all time because it's so pretty, but at the same time it's so stupid.
It's so dumb.
Like, remember like the one episode where there was like a villain? Like it follows the Power Ranger formula of making bad guys.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you don't like doing chores, do you? Well, then I'm going to make a villain that's like a vacuum cleaner and a dust mop, And you're just like, and Sailor Moon's like, no, the one things I hate, the physical manifestations of chores. And like all the Sailor Scouts are like, are we really doing this? But like, that's what I love about Sailor Moon, because it's so stupid. And then like Tuxedo Mask is just like, haha, I have spectated. Time
Goodbye.
to leave. It's like,
switches his cape and walks away.
Tuxedo Mask, like you didn't do anything.
That's my favorite meme right now.
Yeah.
Where he's like, my work here is done. And she's like, you didn't do anything. And he just pushes his cape and walks away.
Like when the villain is like, we kidnapped Tuxedo Mask, and now Sailor Moon is going to have to fight it. If I was Sailor Moon and not knowing who Tuxedo Mask, like his secret identity is, I'm like, he's a superhero. He can save himself. I really don't have any like quarrels with him. I don't really care. All right, bye. And they're like, what? Don't you feel for him? No, not particularly. He's kind
Man,
of
I wish you were Sailor Moon.
If I was
I'd watch
Sailor
that.
Moon?
If you were Sailor Moon,
Oh my gosh.
I would watch that.
I'm the princess. It's like, you're a dude. I can be princess if I want to. I'm a Sailor
Just
Scout.
running in a schoolgirl uniform with your 2 talking cats. No talking cats.
I'd have like 2 talking dogs, pretty much, probably. No, 2 talking like raccoons.
No, I want that dog with the mustache that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. Dog with the mustache.
And he has like a horribly racist accent, and he's like, "What do you think, Paco?" He's like, "I don't know.
I don't know, senor. Oh, this is the Sailor Amigos," and it's just like, oh god.
Arriba!
Go to your kennel. Or like like Sailor Moon's like how she can turn her tiara into like a spinning ring of death and like cut people in half. I would use that all the time. And they'll be like, like while the villain's talking, I'd be like, like I guess you weren't expecting this, and it's like, you can't kill me. Well, how rude! You killed
I hadn't finished my monologue.
And it's like, bitch, I don't have time for this.
It's that's something my friend and I were talking about yesterday, about how that moment in childhood where you cease to be a child and become an adult is when you recognize that all the villains at the end of books explain themselves.
Exactly. Now that I've had you kidnap James Bond, I'm going to tell you my entire plan so you can make a plan to thwart my plan.
Like, why would Voldemort need to tell 11-year-old Harry Potter his entire scheme?
Now that I'm in front of you, Harry, instead of killing you immediately, I'm going to give you my resume and my portfolio.
Here's my headshot.
Here's my headshot. This is my 7-year plan of what I intend to do. There's going to be some reforms at Hogwarts.
If you look at page 10 of my business proposal.
Harry's like, these are good.
We'll definitely consider it. Don't call us, we'll call you.
I'll have to get to Hermione and we'll get back to you. Harry, holy shit, Harry. He's the Dark Lord. We can't hire him.
He had some good references. I don't know.
He tried to kill you. Like 7
He had
times.
a pretty strong plan.
I mean,
No. Yeah, that was a tragic moment when I recognized that. I was like reading all the
Yeah.
Harry Potter books and I was like, why do they explain themselves?
it's like when you replay Resident Evil 1, you get to the end of the game and the villain's like,
Wait,
now
don't tell
that
me I
have
haven't finished it.
Oh no, I'm not gonna tell you who the villain is, but like the villain,
Oh,
like
okay.
Jill Valentine's just like, oh, villain who shall not be named. How could you? And he's like, now that you're here, I'm going to give you an entire breakdown on my plan. And you're just like, what?
And
No.
slowly zombies are
She's
like crawling
laying
through the
on the
window.
ground without a gun. You have a gun. Shoot her in the face. The more you talk, the more she has a chance to thwart your evil plan. Granted, she's the main character, and you don't want her to die because you'll lose. But the point is, it's bad writing where he's just like, now, I'm going to tell you my entire plan instead of killing you where you stand while you're defenseless.
That's the only reason so many of these characters survived. Is because the villain was talking and they're like, while you're talking, I made a gun out of this toothpick and my pubic hair.
Good thing I had my good thing I had my laser toothpick. It was never a thing until right now. Plot convenience.
It is 6:10 here, 7:10 there.
7:10 here.
So I believe that's a wrap for today.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep, where we have a real story to read.
Yeah, we have a real story to read. We have a real story to read.
If nothing else, we'll just dramatically read something that shouldn't be dramatically read, like the instructions on a hairdryer.
Oh my gosh, yes. Or we'll get like a script from a movie, like the first draft of like a movie script. I'll read that. All right, so yeah, this was episode 1 of I Can't Commit to a Name. Your host.
Next week we still won't have a name.
Yeah, we still can't commit to a name.
How do we hang up?
All right, see you guys next week.